Congratulations on the movie. This question is for Jeff Bridges. My name is Laura. I'm from W Radio Colombia. And I wanted to ask you, of course, it took so long to bring up this movie, but technically, visually, the movie is pretty beautiful. Tell me about that process, visually, technically, I don't know, special effects. How did you guys work this out?
Well, that's really a question for Philip, but before I hand it off to Philip, there's a guy sitting behind you that I want to stand up and be recognized. Neil Koningsberg, please stand, Neil. He's been my partner for 18 years, my partner along with Nikki, getting this film made, and I just wanted to acknowledge him. But Philip, why don't you take that one?
Well, that's a long story. Lois had conceived a certain type of community, which was based on her experiences growing up in military bases all around the world. And one of the places that she lived in was in Tokyo just after the Second World War, where she, like Jonas, would leave the walls of the base and venture out into the madness that was post-war Tokyo. And another story she told us was growing up on Governor's Island, surrounded by water. And when you read the novel, you can see those two influences. I went for holiday in Cape Town, South Africa, and took a shot of my son on top of Table Mountain. And when I was coming home in the plane, I looked at it, and I looked into his eyes as he looked out into those clouds. And I thought, wow, that could be Jonas dreaming about going to the benevolent version of elsewhere. And that became one of the ideas that we explored, which combined two of Lois's ideas or experiences, which we combined to produce this community, one of several communities on top of a mesa and surrounded by a cloud bank that was a barrier to the outside. Going to shoot the film in South Africa was a big decision because it meant that the quality of light, the vegetation, and everything were just a little different than most of the rest of the world down there in South Africa, right at the bottom, down at the Cape. So the world looks a little different. It looks a little familiar, but there's something weird about it. The color schemes, as I've said, were inspired by Lois's wonderfully visual writing, and Ed Verreau was our production designer, and we sort of had a bake-off as to how those houses would look, starting with the military-style houses of the 50s that Lois had imagined, and going right through to mid, 21st century housing, egalitarian housing as it might be built, and we sort of ended up with about 12 different designs, passed them around, including to our writer. She chose the same one as the rest of us, and that ended up being the architectural style. But I could go on and on about the look of the film. A lot of it, of course, is CG, and a lot of the buildings are not built when we actually filmed, but were built much later. Designed by Ed Verreau, our production designer, and then built by our CG team. All in the name of sameness, and all in the name of creating a supposedly egalitarian world free of conflict. So design came from Lois's ideas, both written and ideas that she told us, that she shared with us. I hope that it answers the question.
All right, let's go. I'm going to do a little Phil Donahue. Or no, actually, yeah, maybe right in front of you. Thank you.